The more I play Cyberpunk 2077, the more I am surprised with the amount of details and secrets that the world actually has to offer. There's many different ways for these secrets to be found or brought into the game, depending on choices that you make or just how you are playing the game. Now today we're going to be going over some of these secrets that you can find within the world, some of which can only happen if you have certain choices that you've made throughout the game, or if you've spent a little bit of extra time in certain areas or doing certain things while you have found these secrets. These small little details and stuff are kind of just really cool, and it's amazing how much you can miss during a playthrough. Now today we're going to be going over 3 secrets, details, or Easter eggs, or whatever you really want to call them, that you probably missed during your Cyberpunk 2077 playthrough. Now the first one was actually brought to me by one of my members, Alex, who was able to find the body of Meredith Stout. Now for those of you that don't know, during your playthrough in Act 1, you're going to have the option to help out the Corpo Meredith Stout. Now, most of you probably did this, and you were able to romance her later in Act 2 and get John Falstaff, one of the most ridiculous weapons in the game. But if you don't do everything the right way or choose not to help her at all, she will actually end up being murdered by a corporation. Now, the really cool thing about this, and scary thing about this, is that you can actually find her body in the game. And I really love that there are these little small details in the game like this that allow you to basically learn more about what happens to characters from the choices that you make. Now, if you want to find this for yourself, we can actually go to the map here, and all the way up at the top of Watson, we're going to have like this little bridge area here. There's a fast travel point at the offshore streets, and you can come right up to here. Now, this little bridge area is where you're going to want to be. And if we look out into the water, I have no idea how this was found, but if we go into the water, and you are on a playthrough where you chose not to help Meredith Stout, you're actually going to be able to find something really creepy in here. Now, when you're down here, you can scan to get an easier location for the body of Meredith Stout. Deceased, time of death 72 to 76 hours ago. Injury summary is crushed larynx, asphyxiation, and cardiac arrest. It's a pretty horrible way to die with concrete shoes. Now, I really like that Johnny actually pops up for this, because this would have happened before we had Johnny in our brain, and just being able to find this from a choice we made is really cool, and really unfortunate for poor Meredith Stout. But I do like that we can actually find that detail, and being able to have Johnny be a part of it as well, rather than it just being some random thing that you can find, is, I think, a really great detail to the game. Now, next up, we're actually going to head to the beginning of the game to actually find a couple of conversations that relate to Johnny and whether or not it's actually Johnny's spirit or just an AI program and not Johnny at all. Now, this next one is a pretty cool Easter egg, which can be found throughout Cyberpunk 2077. One of the easiest places to get to is if you fast travel to the Kabuki Market here. We're actually going to head up to the top of the center of Kabuki Market here. So we're just going to double jump up here. You don't obviously need double jump to get up here, but it's the fastest way up. And if you go inside of this building here, we're going to be able to find an Easter egg for The Witcher 3. There's actually an arcade game called Roach Race here, and it has Roach even getting attacked by griffins and stuff. And I believe if we listen close enough, there's even a Witcher 3 like remastered or like different rendition of the Witcher 3 theme song. But yeah, it's called Roach Race, and it's an Easter egg for The Witcher 3. I think it's pretty adorable. It really should have just been Roach like sitting on houses though. Now this next detail is really cool, and I think a lot of people probably missed this because I definitely did. And this only happens at the very beginning of the game when you're heading back to your apartment after Jackie drives you home. Now, one thing that you'll notice here is once this actually starts going back up, there's going to be an interview that comes on the TV. This is the only time that this happens.
Bug?
And it's actually
Forgot
really
earlier.
important.
A runner I know has something you could probably use. Zip in your deets.
Okay, thank you, T-Bug. But what's happening right now is we've got a reverend here that is coming to be interviewed.
Karina Lee, host of the Chip-In program, which promotes the use of cybernetic implants. How's life treating you, beautiful?
Now, the great thing about this interview is this is talking about the relic that we actually have installed in our head.
The most exclusive and highly sought-after implant on the market today, Arasaka Corp's Relic. But maybe we ought to make sure our fair audience is up to speed. Karina, what is Relic exactly? In a word, if you could.
In one word, I'd say immortality.
Immortality? Really?
That's right. Relic allows you to transfer the consciousness from a dying person, finding a new home for their soul on a transferable chip. This person, they'll never leave your side, a companion forever with you in your own consciousness. Just a...
Child, think for a moment about what you're saying. This relic is an abomination that feeds on human misery. It is an unnatural likeness, a golden calf born by false prophets. Arasaka speaks of preserving the soul, but they can promise nothing more than a heartless, mindless algorithm speaking with the voice of the departed. What's more, this technology is just another tool of coercion and corruption. Only the wealthy and powerful elite will have access, and they will pay any price in exchange for a chance at this so-called immortality.
Well, that is true that Arasaka Corp has specifically limited access to the relic in order...
Your promise is a lie, an evil lie, motivated by greed and...
Now that is rich.
Hey, excuse me?
False promises, greed, a lust for power. Why, sounds an awful lot like a church.
What? How dare you?
Do you not promise a life after death? Do you not charge funeral fees to a family in mourning? Maybe the Reverend is just afraid of some healthy competition, huh?
Competition? You believe everything in this world can be counted, measured, rationalized.
And wouldn't we be right? We can construct artificial brains, create new consciousness.
But I ask you why? What does that give us? Are we as a people on this earth any happier for it? You claim that this relic gives eternal life, but all I see is an eternity of suffering. Rather than say goodbye, we haunt ourselves with their voices, their presence.
What do you folks think? Who holds the truth? Is it Ms. Lee or maybe Reverend Culver? That is up to you. Send Culver or Lee to 7892 to cast your vote and enter your name for a chance to win tickets to this year's playoff. Until next time, Night City. Toodles.
So basically what this interview is saying is that the relic creates what is essentially a soulless copy of the person that was uploaded into the relic, which essentially means that Johnny really isn't even Johnny, but just a copy of the memories, and may never truly be able to be fully Johnny, even if he were to take over V completely. So it raises the question on whether or not people should actually be using the relics to create these copies of themselves, and will they even truly be themselves after being copied? Because technically it could just be an AI and not actually even a copy of yourself. It could be changed, it can be corrupted, it can do all sorts of things that really makes it so it's not even you or, for purposes of this game, Johnny at all. Now there is something really interesting that we can encounter.
Again, we offer you a humble
Here we go. So these are the monks.
You saved a great many lives.
And at a certain point in time, you can encounter these monks and you can save them.
Can your brother still be a monk?
The Pratimoksha vows are a guide to enlightenment, not binding laws. Though my path is paved with ever greater challenges, I shall not give up.
Now, these monks do not actually believe in cyberware and stuff, but this guy we can actually save. Now, if we do things properly and we save this monk without actually killing anybody around him, we can encounter him later, and then we can ask about Johnny or ask about the constructs. And that's exactly what we're going to do, because this will give us to the other side of the argument that we saw at the beginning of the game with the interview there.
Humor me for a sec. If you don't look too kindly on having implants, then what do you think about constructs?
Ah, yes. You mean the relic. A fascinating subject, is it not? It is a complex, fluctuating affair. It all depends on whether the engram is a copy of a person, or if this person merely exists in a digital realm.
Let's say the engram's just a copy. What then? Could you say that person was real?
If they are truly self-aware, a Buddhist will recognize them as a human being. A perfect copy of a complex human mind is still a human mind. But is it capable of reincarnation? And if it's not, can it still be regarded as a being in possession of a soul?
What you're saying, in other words, is it's complicated.
Suffering is key. It has been there since the dawn of human existence. If a construct can suffer, it is a person.
Let's say an engram's just a person that's been digitized. Is that kosher, in your view?
Buddhism does not condemn digitization per se. Vending machines often preach in temples. No, I would not condemn the simple act of transfer, under the condition that they are at peace with it. One must still remember that they will still be imprisoned in their body, even if their body is not flesh.
Immortality isn't your thing, I'm guessing.
He who cannot die cannot be born into a better life, and will never achieve nirvana.
What's your take, Johnny? You just you? Or a copy?
What difference does it make? You heard him. I'm trapped in a few lines of code. And your body.
Maybe Johnny Silverhand really is dead? Maybe you're just an... well...
What? Imitation? That what you wanted to say? If the real Johnny Silverhand's dead, then that's his problem. Not mine.
You don't say. Feel a headache coming on just thinking about it. Well then, I wish you all the best of luck.
Farewell. And do not stray from the path of righteousness.
So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? We've had the two sides of the argument. One side saying that's a soulless ghost of a copy, and the other side saying that as long as the copy is self-aware and able to suffer, then it still has a soul and is still that person. But I really do love that these details were included in the game and are very easily missable, especially if you're rushing through the game. So I don't know what you all think, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think Johnny is just a copy, a soulless ghost? Or do you think he's potentially able to be reincarnated or actually has a soul? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I'll see you all in the next one.